Everything that was became what is, and what withers and dies is but like the larva in its cocoon.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's episode of the Corona Talk, and I'm super excited to welcome the guest for today, Clémentine, the singer of Visions of Atlantis and Exit Eden. Hello!
Hello, Fabienne. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you today.
Hey, thank you for taking your time. How are you?
I'm good. It's been 5 weeks of quarantine, or 6 or something like that. But it's spring. It's beautiful. I'm in the countryside, so I'm actually having a good time so far.
Yeah.
How about you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, exactly same. Around 5 weeks, more or less, at home, and yeah, just keeping myself busy somehow with Corona Talks as well. It's actually a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you? Are you in France?
Yeah, I'm in the countryside nearby Lyon at my mom's. I decided to not stay in the city. You know, I live in Lyon generally, like downtown, and I felt like no, I don't want to live in a ghost city. I'd rather be in the nature for I don't know how long.
Yeah, so you can go for some walks as well, right?
Yeah.
How's the weather?
Now it's beautiful again. We had
Yeah.
amazing days, but we had just a little bit of thunder last night, and it's great that nature could finally drink, because it's been
Yeah.
so dry for so long. I don't know do we have the same weather in Switzerland?
I think more or less. Now we had also thunder and rain, but very beautiful weather, and I think we're pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay, this is super nice. And so you look great. You're doing good. You're fine, right? How about your
Yeah.
band? How is your band? And
My band is, we're scattered around Europe. Three of the main guys are from Austria. They don't even live in the same area. And our singer is from Italy, and I'm from France. So we keep in touch every day through our chat groups about all the projects that we still have. And I think we're doing good. We're not in personally and professionally in the same situations. For some of us, this is easier than for others. And Michele in Italy, it's been really tough for him, because the quarantine rules there were really, really strict, because Italy's been like hit really hard with that corona thing. So but overall the band feeling's good, because we do have great projects. I think you might have questions about that.
I have. Exactly.
Yeah, so we're doing good, and we just can't wait to, we were on tour in the US for the first time when this happened.
know.
So yeah,
Yes.
we can't wait to go on tour again.
Oh God, I know. I heard about it. You were actually on tour and you had to stop it, right? Yes.
Yeah,
How
we
was
had to
that? Yeah.
It was kind of unreal, because of course we were following what was happening in Europe, because we're all from there. So especially Michele in Italy, where it started in Italy, and then it's spread over Europe, and he was like really starting to get worried, and we were there playing our shows and completely disconnected, because the US tour compared to our daily life in Europe, it's day and night, and suddenly it arrived in the US, like in the US politics. Like it was already, like the disease was already there, but people were not really talking about it. Shows were not threatened to be canceled or anything. And from one day to another, Trump had a speech, and then he said, I cancel everything above 100 people. Okay.
Yeah. From one to
Then
the other day.
From one day to another. We were in Minneapolis, and we were waiting to know if we were going to play today, and they said no, sorry, tour's over, go home.
Go home. Yeah. How many shows did you play already on this tour?
We were supposed to play 13, and we played 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
But
hurts.
it was amazing. We still got the chance to play Salt Lake City at Los Angeles. You know, we still managed to play it in front of amazing crowds in the US, and
Yeah.
the response we had just gave us so much hope that we'll be able to go back there and meet our
Yeah.
audience again. So
Yeah. Are there any plans of postponing it for the rest of the
the
tour?
yeah, that we had there was a plan to postpone that tour to August. But honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So then I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So now it's August. Maybe if it will not work, maybe you can postpone it even for later, or just a whole other tour, or yeah. Okay, but how was it? So you were kind of stuck there. So how did you take a day off as well there afterwards, or did you fly home directly because you were afraid that you didn't get home anymore, or how was that?
Well, we had a last festival in Mexico before we decided to go home. This festival was already planned, and the thing is, we were looking at which countries were closing their borders, and we noticed that the US were closing their borders super fast. So we had to take a decision if we could play this show in Mexico, and then if we play in Mexico, can we fly back from the US to Europe, or do we have to fly back from Mexico? And at first, our flights back, we had some shows scheduled in Canada, and then we were supposed to fly away from Canada itself. But to go there, we would have to go through the US, and they were closing their borders. So we were like, okay, if we play this Mexico, we need to be able to leave from Mexico.
From Mexico.
But we don't have any flights, and we can't change them. It was not so easy to change our tickets, you know. And the options there from one day to another, you know, booking a flight for 6 people from one day to another.
No.
The options were like so crazy expensive, and most companies were like shutting down all the connections, and we had to take a flight that was a direct flight. We couldn't take a flight that was that had a stopover in the US. So there's so many things, and it's we had to get some help from the parents of one of our band members to actually cover for those tickets, because we just couldn't on the personal level because they were too expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was stress. I remember several of us were like looking for flights the entire day on the festival day, and then playing that last Mexican. We were headlining the festival in Mexico because all the European bands couldn't make it. You know, people couldn't
make
fly
it anymore.
So we were headlining. It was crazy, and the next day was over. Next day morning, we were on the flight home.
Flight home, back to Europe. Okay. Oh, that was an adventure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, but you had a good time on the Mexican show.
Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet, you know, because we knew this potentially is our last show before God knows when. And afterwards we realized this was maybe the last metal festival that was played in the world before the crisis. It was the last event. It was and people there were like, I think they understood that there is something happening, and we had to take advantage of our last opportunity to see bands live. And we like we had to cherish the moment, like this is our last stage before
the last one before the shutdown. Yes.
So when it went even faster than in general, you know. It was festival shows 45 minutes, bam, over.
Tack, done, and now we don't know when the next one will happen. So actually that leads me to the next question. So your band is affected. And so you had to cancel one of your tours, US tours, right? Half of it at least. And what else? Like, what plans did you have that now you cannot do? Or
Many. We were supposed to have a full headlining European tour in April.
Yeah.
This got postponed to September, October, and we truly hope that borders will be reopened. Like cross everything, people cross everything. We really hope that international travel will be allowed so that we can perform that month tour from mid-September to mid-October. And then this summer we had quite some festival schedules. We had Masters of Rock with orchestra that was planned. We had Metal on the Hill with orchestra that was planned. We had Wacken that was planned. It's like it was not too many events, but it was good quality shows that we were supposed to play. So it's bad timing, but it's hopefully it's postponed to next year.
Yes. And how do you keep yourself busy with the band now? So let's not talk about what is not happening. Let's talk about what is happening now. How do you plan your time now with the band? Do you have some new projects going on with them?
Yeah. We have a live DVD that is in progress. We have a new album that we're working on. And we have ideas of trying to develop our online presence and live streams and live shows on the internet. Until we can really play, we need to find solutions. I mean, all bands actually have to find solutions to be more present online, and I think those Corona talks are also a way of, as a band, being still out there, even though we can't do the thing we're really meant to do. We have been doing some Q&As online to keep in touch with the fans, because they're worried. Like, the fans are really worried. They some already still have tickets for coming shows, and some had to cancel entire trips to see you, I guess, and Visions and all bands out there. So fans are like, I guess they listen to politics and they kind of know the situations here and there, but they want to know also from the bands, like, are you guys gonna play to my town this day?
Of course. I understand. And when is your DVD coming? Just so we all know.
We don't know yet. It's I guess this year, but I don't want to like say a date and then lie.
So no. Okay, so it's not clear yet, but it is coming. And so now it sounds like you also use your time for some songwriting and everything, right?
Yes.
But didn't you just release an album in like last year or so, right?
Last year,
August
2019.
Yes. So you were actually touring this album now in the US when you had to cancel it. Yes, okay. But you did already some tours with your new album before?
We did the tour with the Freedom Call in the fall last year. That was really good. And we started to do shows on our own. But at the end of August, for the release shows, we did like 4 shows in Europe, and we started to feel like, okay, we can go as a headline act now. Wow!
Yeah.
So and we managed to do our first headline European tour in February. Like, we did those Southern European countries like Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, which we barely played before, and it was amazing.
Cool.
So we really were expecting to go on that April tour, because we were hitting more countries. We were coming back to the UK, stuff like that. But it's live,
Yeah, postponed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how was the feedback for your new album?
Great. The feeling we had was that we went further than on the previous record, which, as an artist, is very satisfying to feel like you're improving and that you're going deeper into what you really want to express and want to say. And people got that same feeling. They were like, this goes beyond, this goes better, this goes deeper, this is so this is really what matters, is that our intention and what we think and it is for us was confirmed. Like, people got the same impression, and they loved the songs that we love as well. And we really have a lot of fun when we play live. People start to really get into our universe, learn the lyrics, know the songs, and this is really, for us, we're really growing right now with this, and it's super exciting. It's super.
Such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the whole process of writing like the last album now? Are you involved with lyrics, melody, music, and how does it work in your band?
We closely work with some producers to like really finalize the ideas that we come up with. Because we to be honest, we don't want to lose time. We want to write good music, and sometimes it's not a bad thing to say like, hey, we need some help and some insight to get this to the next level, because because we feel the need to, and because our sound and our universe is so particular, like symphonic metal related to oceans and related to the universe that we try to create. It's great to have other people involved, other ears, and so we do write and produce with some producers together. And for my contribution, I do write melodies. I write songs also. It's mostly ballads. and I write the lyrics. I'm responsible in our band for the entire universe, the entire visual universe. I created the costumes and the photo shoots, the new visual identity since our last two records is based on me. I'm responsible for that, so I can use my creativity in different ways, and I very, very grateful for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, hey, sounds great. But you are not only in one band, right? What about Exit Eden? Like, what's going on there at the moment? Just tell us.
Well, it took a while before we actually got any news for a second record. But it's supposed to happen.
That's good.
like the new contracts are on their way. The new team is formed behind it, so there should be another record. The thing is, it might not be exactly with the same people or done in the same way. There's a big question mark. Maybe the recipe is gonna change. Maybe I'm not sure exactly if it's gonna stay exactly like it was. I can't say much more right now, but there should be a second record, and I think this whole crisis is putting a lot of things on hold. There is no way for us to like travel to studios to try out things. There is no reason. There's no way to meet up and talk about the next thing. We can't plan any tours, because this band is not yet completely structured to hit the road. So we can't even say like, this would be the schedule and the time frame, because as you know very well, like record labels, they need to know when a band can tour to promote an album. And since right now we're still kind of a new project, if we can't tour, it's hard to say let's put an album there on during these times. Right now is not a good period to release any album, because you can't tour and promote it, and people are just gonna forget. So everything's postponed for that. It's on hold. It's working behind the scenes, quite slow, but for as far as I know, there is a second record that should come out. That's all I know.
That's super good. So we are all very happy about that. One guy asked me to ask you, how did you come up with the idea of this band, or how did you get a member of it? How did this whole thing develop? I really love the concept behind it, so I want to know more.
It's an amazing concept. I was not part of it since day one. I was asked and introduced by Amanda Somerville, and because she was working together with Anna, with the studio and the producers that had the idea all together of playing with pop songs and turning them into metal things. And they wanted them to, just have like a trial. Can you please sing that and see just how it sounds? And then when they started to combine her big classic presence together with another rockish voice,
Yeah.
on a pop song with a huge orchestra and heavy guitars. They were like, Jesus, what is this?
Oh
And
God.
yeah, like I can't imagine like them in the studio and be like, what the fuck is that? Like that cello riff on that Rihanna song, all of these
Oh, it's
things.
so. Oh, I love this one. Unfaithful. I love it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah. And they were like, this is crazy, and this is too good to remain just as a project, just in a studio thing. So they said, let's create a real package around it. Let's make something real out of it. And who do you want to involve in? And they were like, we need more singers. 2 is too little. And first they wanted us to be 3, and they asked me and Marina to do some tests. And I remember Marina and I, we were being tested on the same day. Like we arrived at the studio same day, and we knew like they should pick one of us. And so it's always awkward. It's like, hey, hi, how are you? Good, how are you? Good, yeah.
A little bit awkward. I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's like it's out of your hands. You give your best. She's awesome. Yeah. She's totally different. Her and I are totally different. So I was like, I don't even feel competition because we're so different. It's a matter of taste, and it's a matter of what they're looking for at the end, like what they want to keep.
Yeah.
And it could be, but my voice doesn't blend with the others. And then it's, I was like, I give my best.
It's not personal if they don't want you, right?
No,
it's just what fits better.
You should not. Yeah.
And then
the thing is, they loved us both. That is that let's make it a 4-piece. Who cares?
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was like, well, they couldn't decide, so they keep you both. It never happens in the world. Like you go to a job interview. You have 2 people in the end, and then like we only have 1 job offer, but you guys are 2 good. We create 2.
We do 2.
Never happens. So that was awesome. Amazing, and that's how. Yeah, I was recommended, and that's how it happened. As simple as that.
And who picks the songs? I love the choices of the songs. So how did that develop?
This one, I mean, for that record, it was really like the guys and Amanda and Anna all together, and the producers who afterwards were chosen to be part of the whole team behind it, that sort of threw in names and titles of pop anthems from different periods of time, like from Talks of the Heart to that Unfaithful Rihanna. It's like it's not the same generation.
Yeah.
And they wanted something a little bit diverse, but still like songs that people knew. And they had to also work with new arrangements. It could be that sometimes you pick a song and you try to make an immortal version and you feel it just doesn't click. It's too artificial, or it loses its own groove or stuff. But no, I think on that record they did an amazing job with the songs they picked, honestly. And they at first, I have to admit, I was a little skeptical before I heard the songs. I was a little bit skeptical about the concept of pop metal. I was like, this is a little bit cringy. It has to be done well, Yeah. And when they said there is, yeah, they did. And then they told me, well, in the songs there is a blah blah blah, and there is a Frozen from Madonna. I was like, wait, what?
Yes, it's my favorite.
So yeah.
That's also the one I was like, Frozen from Madonna. I have to listen to it. First I was like, Disney? No, maybe not. No. So Madonna, I really like this version too. So
and we even had the chance to have Simone from Epica to sing with us on that one, and on Skyfall as well. She was a guest on that record. No, not everyone knows about it because there were no videos with her, but Simon from Epica is guest singer on that.
This is super cool. All right. Hey, this is cool. Together, so many female singers together and just performing in one song.
Yeah.
How did you get into singing? What was your inspiration and when did it start?
I remember I was singing since I was super young. And I think that really made it clear to me that I loved to sing was the day I went to see The Little Mermaid from Disney.
Yeah.
At the cinema. because I kind of identified quite a lot with that character. You know, she's rebellious. She doesn't do what she's told to. She wants to belong to somewhere else, and this is quite my life story. So yeah, I felt quite and I always wanted to be a mermaid. I think this is amazing. So yeah, and I started to sing the songs. I was, I don't know, 5 or 6, and then I continued to sing. I was very enjoying all the choirs at school and middle school, and then I started to get my first real classic singing lessons when I was 16. I could, and then I had the maîtrise, like a special class for teenagers at Lyon National's Opera. So that was a very good, gave me a really good ground basis for like technique.
Yeah.
And then I explored on my own, and then I had other private teachers for quite some time. I sang in semi-professional choirs, like for sacred music, because I love it, sacred music. And then I joined my first metal band in 2010. But yeah, singing was always there, and right now for me it's something that I do too much with an intention. Like, I have to be a singer because I'm part of bands, and we have to record concerts and records and play shows, and sometimes I feel like I don't sing enough just for me, just for pleasure, you know. So sometimes I'm like, I put songs that I love to sing, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to sing that song. I don't want to, you know, I have to practice because it's part of me, you know what I mean. Keeping the enjoyment, even if it's something you have to do, you know.
Yes, I know. Sometimes it's just nice to just sing in a room just for yourself.
Yeah.
And just enjoying. I know what you mean. Sometimes you sing because you have to learn this song, because you have to do this and this and this. But then sometimes it's just nice to just sing whatever you feel like Little Mermaid songs or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping it like natural, keeping it your own way of expression, and stop making it something that always has to have a project out of it, you know. But
that's maybe a little bit the danger if you have a hobby and it turns into your job. Then it sometimes gets forgotten that you actually do it because you love it. No, but you know what I mean. It's just important to take your time and just have fun again as well.
Totally. Otherwise it's too much pressure, you know. It's like every time I sing it has to be perfect because or whatever, and but you know the feeling. So.
I feel you. But so you were trained classically, like your whole life, right? This is your base.
Well,
or
it's hard to say, because before I took those classes, I was part of a gospel choir, and which is totally different. It's just that my real singing lessons were with classic singers and in a classic environment. I never had a pop singer as a teacher that would tell me how to sing pop, for example. Like all my rockish, all my chest voice development I did on my own. And and even now my I would say my classic training, I don't sing super classic anyway with Visions of Atlantis, because it doesn't really fit the jar. It's sort of a classic. It's a mixture, you know. It's a lighter version of classic music, but classic singing.
Were you always into metal then? How was that? How did you get into metal?
Actually, I got into metal with two sides. It's like I was listening to more and more heavy and dark music. But back then I thought it was dark, you know, like the Cranberries, YouTube, Nirvana, Placebo, The Offspring. I'm listening to hard stuff. And then one day I was listening to the radio, and I heard Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. And that was already like the heaviest guitar I had ever heard. So I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? And I play the piano too, like you. So to me, like having piano, a feminine voice, and those guitars, I was like, oh my God, what is that? Totally hooked. And then that discovery was connected with me started to get my classic singing lessons, and acquaintance of mine knew I was starting to get into that kind of singing, and they lent me, and they knew that I liked rock music, and they lent me two Nightwish albums, and
All right.
and then at first when I remember the first time I listened to, I think it was Uncensored Child, the first record I listened to, I didn't even know what I was listening to, what kind of music it was. Is that medieval, hard medieval? What is this? Because none of the keys, none of the how the voice was used, none of the arrangements was ringing any bells. Even though my parents had been listening to every kind of stuff, they never listened to symphonic metal, or to really metal like Tears for Fears and Led Zeppelin. That was the hardest I heard when I was a kid, and so to me it was like a brand new world, and I realized this is what I want to do. This is the music I want to make. And then I was going into stores or like seeing back in the days before streaming people, you went into stores to listen to music and to discover bands,
Wow.
So I remember going to the CD place and see like metal written, and then go into whatever names, like the covers, if I like the cover. And I discovered so many bands on my own like this, and so and then of course when you start getting to metal, you start to get into the metal world and knowing metal heads and going to metal concerts, and then it's all about people saying like, you should listen to this and this and that and this and this and that, and it's a new family that opens up.
And then you sang in so many metal bands, and now you're in 2 currently, right? Am I right?
To me is more of a project than a band, because we don't have like a regular band behind us. Like we do have our musicians, but it's it's not the same to me. To me for now, I have my real band, Visions of Atlantis, and then I like to have different collaborations as well, and more experiences.
And how did you become a member of Visions of Atlantis? How did that go?
Well, it was at the end of 2013. Visions of Atlantis had like quite of a big internal chaos going on, like people not tuning together anymore. Like some of them wanted to go that way, some others wanted to go this way, and the band itself had made releases that were not so convincing, and they were not sure. They were questioning the entire thing, and at some point our leader said, listen, I want to go back to the roots of Visions. I want to go back to symphonic metal, and I don't want to explore into directions that just let us go astray and losing even ground of what we're doing together. And the rest of the band were like, okay, we don't feel like it, so part ways. And at that moment, Thomas was the only band member. Our drummer was the last who was standing, and he was also the founder of this band. And he decided that he didn't want to actually end this band like this, just because he was alone. I don't think he even believed everyone would leave, but everyone actually did leave. And so he was alone, and it was like, okay, I can't end this band like this. We need a final record, we need a final tour. And he knew me because of my collaboration with Serenity that was in and we were in touch already because I was booking some of Napalm Records bands on the festival I had back in the days. It was a female fronted festival. And so we were in touch, and one day he drops me an email and he's like, listen, this is a secret, but I would like to ask if you would like to record one last record with Visions and go one last goodbye tour before we end this band.
Whoa, that's okay.
And he told me the story, and I felt so bad. Like Visions and Serenity, I had been on tour together. Like I had toured with this band. Thomas was not there at that moment, but I had no idea what was going on. And, I felt, wow, it's coming to an end in a weird way. And I felt bad that he would just like end the band if we don't make that last record. And I thought, since I always loved symphonic metal, and I thought, to me, it was sort of answering the dream of my teenager back then. I was like, oh, I want to have my symphonic metal record in my discography, like a real one. So I said, yeah, I want to help you. I want to help your band. I did really that out of trying to help them out, try to help him out, try to help that name out, just putting an end to a career that is with dignity, ending a career in dignity and not in misery, like just we splitted,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just awful after 15 years,
Yeah.
So the thing is that when we started to play a couple of shows, just because we some shows were still scheduled before we started to write anything, the response on the band with me and Siegfried back then being the new faces and voices, the response was so positive that actually it brought water back into the whole thing and wind under our wings. And then he said, actually, I don't think we should end the band now, because I'm sure there's still a potential.
Yeah. Hey, this is a wonderful story. I didn't know this.
Yeah, that Visions of Atlantis has been this close to disappear. Yeah.
All right. So we are all happy you didn't. I'm so happy to hear that everything worked out and it just matched so well. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't know what to expect. I was like, we're just going to do one record. I had no expectations. I had no pressure. I had like, this is just to help a band out there ending the career, a band I know I've been touring with, a band that I know is part of the history of symphonic metal, because now Visions of Atlantis is 20 years old. Yeah. We were out before Epica was, if we think about it, it's like we're part of the history, even though we're not one of the big top bands there of the jar. We helped define it when it came out, and in the sake of the history and even the sad history, because the first singer of Visions of Atlantis, she passed away in 2012, and a lot of people are still connected to the band because of her voice. Like, she sang on the 2 first records, and so it's like it's so much thing going on, and I'm so happy that very fast Thomas felt it's wrong to end this, and it took us time to release not the last album, but the one before, The Deep and the Dark. It took us 5 years. But it was necessary to put this band on track again. It took its time, but it was worth it.
Yeah, and you've been on the road with them since now 7 years or something like that, right? Or
more or less. On the road, the thing is, we never really toured before 2018. We had a couple of shows, we had a couple of festivals here and there, but since we had not released anything, we were not given the chance to go on tour. We were not even ready to go on tour. So we started a tour 2 years ago. Yeah, like for me, the band is brought back to life for real, like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, sounds great. And what do you like most about touring?
I think, for sure, the time that we're on stage. This is the reason why we're doing this. So I'm always longing for the moment we're on stage, and when I'm on stage, there is no question of why I'm doing this. When I'm on stage, it's so much connected to something that I feel is like a mission, like expressing yourself, sharing something with people that goes beyond rationality, that goes beyond material things. It's so powerful, all the energy we give and we get back, that we do this for the stage. For me, this is really the most important. And then, of course, there are side things, collateral sad things that are really enjoyable, that travel, getting to places we've never been to before.
Yeah.
Meeting crazy people, spending time together, having fun. And, of course, having this sensation that you're just spending your time doing what you love, being who you really are, that you don't need to wear a mask or being a hypocrite or having to get into like that work frame you have when you need to work for someone, you know, you're being yourself the whole time. And
Yeah.
so that's something I really enjoy.
Yeah. And the question from singer to a singer: how do you take care of your voice on tour? Do you have a special method, ritual, whatever?
Well, I do. Well, wait, one question at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a nebula of things I want to say and no one goes out, you know.
Okay. Step by
So
step.
first things first, you don't drink alcohol. I really, the last tours, I really felt the difference. So I try to really be strict with that. I barely drink anything. And not that I love to drink, it's just that before that, when I was with Serenity, I was not singing as much. So it was not as important, even though it still was. I allowed myself to drink a bit more, like a couple of beers every night after a show. And when I started to do that and we were playing longer shows and I was singing more, I started to feel it's harder for my voice to recover from the effort when I drink.
Yeah.
So I decided to sort of quit drinking. And then staying healthy, like with what you eat, making sure your body is in good health, like trying to stay, even if on stage you're moving a lot, I still work out when I go on tour because it's part of boosting your metabolism to not get sick, because this happens very easily when you're on tour.
Oh,
At least to
yes.
me. The whole system, you know, we don't eat still as well as when I'm home and all of this. So, and then I use a lot of special plants, like the Erisium officinal. It's a plant that is special for the voice, and I do some exercises, and some before, like I would say 30 minutes before the show, like warming up with it, and it really helps opening up. And of course, doing a good warm up before sound check, because generally we think, oh, it's just sound check, I don't give a fuck. And everyone wants you to sing normally because they want to hear you, because they want to make sure that your monitor, everyone's monitors is on point, on spot, and your sound engineer is like, I want to be able to have good presets, so I want you to sing like you're gonna sing for real, okay? And it's you just woke up 2 hours ago and like, you want really?
You want me to sing now, dude?
So good warm up before sound check, something lighter before the show, but still like I try not to to be disciplined with sound with the warm up, because it's really important. And then when it comes to the talking, or when we're having a party on the tour bus, I try to put my voice in a place that I know I don't damage it when I talk, and not doing anything silly like screaming or going out without a scarf when it's cold, or not going into places that are too smoky if people want to go to the bar. Well, sometimes it's a sacrifice at some point, but but then on the next day I can get up not too late and I feel good, and you know it yourself, when you're on stage and your voice is responding, there's no greater feeling than that.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. But what about these plants? Sorry, I have to get back to this. What is it exactly? I want to know.
Oh yeah, I don't have it around me. What could I do? Maybe I could send you a picture of it, because I can't write it right now. It's the Latin word is Erisium, I think, officinal, and and it's a special thing that you can. It's like a medicine somehow. You found in the pharmacy, like parapharmacy thing. It's not really it's not really a medicine itself, but it helps clearing the voice. You put it like 30 drops in a bit of water, and then you keep it in the mouth, and you do like, you know, all of this for like I don't know, 10 minutes, going high and down with
Awesome. Okay, and you feel a difference when you do that.
I feel a difference.
it kind of strengthens the voice, or
It
it's doing
it
its
opens
magic.
it makes it clearer, and you have a very clear voice. Like your voice is really crystal
Yeah.
clear, and I am yeah. This could feel very comfortable for you as well. Yeah.
Hey, I would love to try that out. So if you
Sure.
can send it to me afterwards.
Yeah, I'll drop you a DM. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right. I think maybe we can leave it in the comments too for everybody that is
Sure.
interested. I mean, super
Sure.
cool.
Absolutely.
I never heard
Yeah.
about that actually. Okay. Wow. I
What
love
are
this
your
idea.
tricks?
Hey, I also I don't drink on tour, or like very like seldomly, like maybe an off day. Okay, let's enjoy it a little bit, but no. Because I feel the same. Because the body is our instrument, we have to take care of
Yeah.
it. And since
Yeah.
we are like one group of a people, always together, 24/7, kind of, you pass it to each other when you're sick and everything. So for us, it's super annoying, right? When I
Yeah.
having a cold on tour for me is the worst. Hitting high notes, and then you just don't know if you can, because something is
Yes.
stuck, and it's the most horrible feeling, when you know you could do better, but at the moment you just can't, because your body
Yeah.
is, yeah. So yeah, I also do warm-ups. I have this thick straw that I put into a
Yeah.
bottle of water, and
Yeah. I've heard about it.
yeah, I think it's called Lux Vox or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of singers do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it works so well. Oh, for example, when your vocal cords are a little bit swollen, it helps that they close better, and also I can
Oh.
feel a difference. Like I do it for the studio too, when I feel like okay, I
Yeah.
have to go again. I do it for maybe a minute, and it feels very, very nice. So
Is it any kind of straw, into any kind of bottle, or do you have to have like a proportion of size or something?
it is not a normal straw. It is one of these, yeah, you find it in these stores for buildings and stuff. It's a little bit thicker,
Yeah.
and I will leave you a comment for that.
Yay!
That's good. And then just in a like a 5 deciliter bottle or something like that, and you fill it, I think, half, and then you put it in, and you blow and you sing, and it's
Oh yeah.
also, for me, it's fantastic. I just use this and do my warm up before the sound check, as you mentioned, because it can fuck you up if you have to sing and you're not prepared,
Yeah.
and you should sound as you would sound in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I even do it actually, when I'm off stage during the show. I always have it ready, and I sing
Oh
into it,
wow.
and when I have one song of break, and then I go back on stage. So
Great.
this, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
This is my little thing I do all the
Nice.
time, and sometimes I feel like I'm even a little bit addicted to it. If I don't use it, like, can I still sing? This is, I don't know, but it just works out for me so well.
Yeah. But it's as you said, ritual, when you asked me the question, like, do you have any ritual for that? And I think at some point, the things we do to make our voice feel better, we're sort of getting, it makes us feel better that we did it, and we're like, oh my god, I haven't done this today, I haven't warmed up in it long enough, or I'm running out of that, or I don't find my warming up tools and anything, and we lose confidence. But we should not put too much power in those things.
Yes.
They help us, but we know how to sing, we know how to preserve our voice in itself, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
should like
Yeah, you are right. Because once I didn't find, I was like, I need it. No, wait. It will be fine without it. But you develop such a thing that you need it, kind
Yeah.
of. But it's
Yeah.
just tools, and it helps us. But we still can do it without.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, super important. But it's true. I mean, this is the nice thing, that our instrument is our body, but we need to take care of it, especially on tour.
Yeah.
But also on days like this, like we are just at home. So do you still train it, and do you work out, for example, as well, just to keep your body in shape? What do you do during these days to keep you in shape?
Well, I work out at home. I use videos and apps for that, like a lot of people do. It's wonderful. You don't actually need much. You don't even need weights or anything. Your own body weight is enough to keep yourself firm and dynamic and enjoy a good workout. You can use your body weight to sweat. Really, you don't need to. Yeah. I do have some weights. Sometimes I like to add a little extra to feel an extra burn and be like, yes, I can do it. And for the voice, also, I didn't sing for like 2 weeks after I came back. The first week, because I was so jet lagged, my life was like, Clementine is on recovery, shut down. Thank you, goodbye.
Thank you, bye. See you.
Nothing to see. And the week after, the following week, I was like, okay, we're in quarantine because there is a virus out there. We're not on tour. We don't know what's going on. I had my entire life to figure out. My company, I'm hosting shows. This is my main job. Is not hosting any shows until September. So it's like six months without activity. I have one employee. How is this gonna work out? I had all of these, and I still have all of these issues as a priority. I have to save my job because otherwise I can't go on tour. I can't have a band anymore. I have to find another job because Visions of Atlantis is going great in people's eyes. We go on tour. We go in the US. We release albums every year, but we as musicians don't earn a single euro out of what we do. We reinvest. For now, we are reinvesting everything. It's like I'm a professional singer in my approach to this. I'm not a professional singer as this is my only activity. Absolutely not. We all must have a job next to it. So so keeping busy, I had to stay focused on these matters. And then I started to sing again. And I realized my voice had to be able to rest because I didn't push it for 2 weeks. My voice was so responding. I was like, oh, wow. And it's like, I was so relieved. That was like 2 weeks without having sung a note. It's going to be like, I will have to work again to get it back to where it was. And actually not. It was the opposite. And it's like when you do sports on a very high level, you need to train and you need to rest. And the rest time is as important as the training. And then same for the voice. And I felt that it was so true when after this tour. And then now I'm like, since we're working on a new album, I'm singing here and there, new tracks, new melodies, working with my piano as well, sending ideas, working on new ballads and working with a friend of mine on maybe in a new project as well. But
okay, tell us more.
I guess you're one of the first I've talked to about that, even though I don't even know you so well.
Oh, that's an honor. All right. Hey, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you can tell me and tell us, or is it very much secret?
I can tell you, what I can tell you is that, and maybe you feel the same because I guess you have a lot of influences musically that are not just metal. And to me, I feel I love metal a lot, and I have my metal band, Visions of Atlantis, and where I'm given to sing in specific ways there. And what I can come up with the piano and who I am as an artist and a musician cannot be defined by just this role I have with Visions, and I'm sure you must relate even more because with in Eluveitie you do share the lead vocals with other singers. You're not the only one, and I guess maybe that's why you also have your own project now, right? And like as a part of your own self-expression, and I just feel like I want to explore other ways, maybe not only metal ways of working with my voice. And that's the direction that we're giving ourselves. Like, let's explore. We have ideas for sounds that we want to use, some instruments that we're gonna want to use that are not especially relevant of symphonic metal or whatever. We just want to break codes and be
Yeah.
free, you know.
Yeah,
And
letting creativity flow, no borders,
yeah,
just like a playground, and you see
yeah,
what's gonna happen. Just to
yeah,
express yourself in a different way, maybe as well.
totally. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow. Hey, then this is super exciting news. Thank you for sharing. Well, let's see when we will hear something. I'm looking forward to it.
There is no pressure on this one.
That's a
Right now,
nice thing.
it's
That's a
yeah,
very nice thing. No pressure
yeah,
sometimes is
no
great.
pressure.
Sometimes you
Yeah,
need to kick
yeah,
ass, but but hey, now's the time, I guess, right? Being home mostly. Now you
yeah,
have time to write and being creative
yeah.
and also to cook. I saw some posts on Instagram. You did some nice desserts.
Thank you.
Yeah, even the raw one, the crocodile one, was it like, I don't know, a few days ago or so? I saw it. You'd made a raw cake.
Yeah, I was at home, and so yeah, you know, I'm a vegan, and so pastry, and you know it as well, it's because you're a vegan too. When you come from the regular world, and you love making pastry, and then you come into the vegan world, and you're like, there's no
Yeah.
eggs, there is no milk, there's no butter.
What do you do?
I just eat fruit. That's not like a cooked
And
dessert.
leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so so I was home, and I was like, I don't want to do something new I've never done, you
Yeah.
know. And I had to combine several issues, like so vegan, and then we had some pears that were left, and then my sister said, I like pears, but not when they're cooked.
Oh,
Really? So
okay.
raw pears, vegan. And then I was imagining, okay, I mixed the pears, and then it's gonna be like liquid, fluffy, blah. But maybe if we add some stuff, it could get firm. I was like, maybe cheesecake, like a raw cheesecake with pears. I thought
Yeah.
that's I'll check it out if this exists, and it exists.
There's nothing that doesn't exist.
Everything exists. So there was a girl on YouTube who had a recipe for vegan cheesecake raw with pear. Put the words in the right order, okay?
Yeah, but perfect. Yeah, exactly
Yeah,
what you had.
Yeah, I didn't have exactly all her ingredients. I replaced things that I think could replace, and it worked well. But she made it in a very small round thing, and I had like the double size, so it was this thin. So like this thin of a cake. So I actually cut it and put 2 layers on top of them, and this is. And when I put the almonds on it, this is why it looks like a
like a crocodile.
alligator, like a crocodile.
Alligator or something like that.
So that's why I called it a like crocodile. But it was extremely good because it's a lot of almonds, like crushed almonds, crushed coconut with pears and vanilla, almond milk, and you had to leave it in a freezer for 48 hours, so you could not be impatient. You know, I thought I was gonna eat this the same night I did it, because that's what you do when you make a cake, because you actually want to eat one. And then I was like, and then I didn't wait until the end of the video, and she said, so now you leave it 48 hours in the freezer.
And you're like, no, can't wait.
So you're like licking all the pan, you know, you're like licking all the spoons, like, at least I have a piece of my dessert. So yeah, but then I knew in 2 days I would be so happy to have a vegan cake that was waiting for me in the fridge. So yeah, but that was my first attempt at raw food. I'm no expert at all in raw food. This is all brand new to me. But the flavors are so intense when it's raw. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's so good. Yes. Actually, the funny thing is, because I just did like, I think 5 raw cakes in the last 2 weeks, because I'm totally into it at the moment. I just like everything I have, dates and nuts, and then in the blender and... Yes. Yeah. And that's why I saw your post, and I was like, oh, this is super interesting. So, and it looked very delicious, your cake. So
thank you. Yeah. So what do you think about like those raw cakes and raw food? Like, is it something that people can make easily? Like, imagine they watch this video and like, I've never heard about raw cakes and I want to make one. Do you think it's easy? Do you think it requires some ingredients that you don't necessarily have every day, or?
the only thing you, I think, would need is a blender somehow. You have to be able to blend the dates and everything,
Yeah.
but otherwise
Yeah.
it's stuff that you have at home often,
Yeah,
like
cashew nuts or
yeah, cashews. Oh, it's the base of everything, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And cashews is the super good, and then dates. I don't know if some, yeah, dates. I have always dates at home. I love them. Oh, it's so good. And basically then you choose a fruit, right? And I got
Yeah.
some frozen strawberries and blended everything together, and they get such a nice cream because of the cashews. And then you
Yes.
just, yeah, you make a like a bottom thing, and then you just put it in the freezer. I am such a horrible baker, but I think these raw cakes, they turned out actually good. So I would say it's even easier to make them, because
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you can leave them
You
for
can't
2
fuck up
days.
the yeah. You can't
It's
fuck up the baking because it doesn't have it's not temperature related, you know, and if you only mix like good stuff together, sweet stuff together, like how can it be wrong, you know?
exactly.
So-
You only put in good stuff, and then if you have a little bit more nuts, a little bit more dates, it doesn't really matter because it just tastes good anyway. So
yes.
yeah, so it's actually, it's such a nice thing, and I am already looking on YouTube for another recipe for another cake. I'm a little bit
Oh
cake
yeah,
addicted at the moment.
yeah, I can't wait to see that. I'd love to yeah, follow this from you too because it's it's not every day that we can like share things like this with people who like to do the same thing as you. So
Yeah, this
yeah,
is actually
go
super
ahead.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, there is one question. How long have you been vegan? And I made some notes from the people. They wanted to know, how long have you been vegan and why?
Oh wow. I think I remember I stopped eating meat in June 2015. So and then I so that was like the big step, you know. I think when you start to question your diet and realize you're not eating the way you actually feel in this world, stopping eating meat is the first step. And then I stopped eating fish, and then the hardest for me was cheese because
Oh yeah.
as a fellow French citizen, you know, we love our cheese. We love our cheese, wine, and bread. You know,
Yes.
when you're having a dinner and you're missing either cheese or wine or bread, it's a great thing we do. We keep adding cheese and bread and wine so that we can finish them three at the same time, which never happens. So you keep eating cheese and bread and wine for hours. So yeah, that's why our dinner is so long. It's like, oh, I still have some bread. I might have some more cheese. I still have some cheese. I might have more bread, and I have to have wine of that. You know,
Yeah. I see.
if you understand this is the Bermudese Triangle. You know, this is where
Yeah.
people get lost. You know, so yeah, so that was the hardest. So I think I started. Yeah, I turned vegan probably early 2016. So it's like a little bit over 4 years, and. The only thing I regret about being vegan is that I didn't turn earlier, because, yeah, because for when I was a kid, and you know, kids they're innocent, natural beings, and they can be close to animals, and they know they love them because they see how innocent an animal is too, as they are themselves. And when you're kids love animals, you know, most of them.
Yeah.
And I realized I was like that back when I was a child, I loved animals. I watched so many documentaries. I was fascinated by the animal world. And when I grew up as a teenager, I totally forgot, you know, all those chemistry that happens and fucks your brain up, and guys and what am I going to do in my life? Who am I? And all this, it sort of disconnects you to the child you were, and you actually reject the idea of being a child. You want to be a woman, you know, and you forget about actually that you're still a child growing up. And I think at some point, when all of that teenager thing settled down and I started to have my own active life, and after I was done with my studies, and I don't know, my sister and I started to watch videos about animal being not treated properly in the food industry. And even though there are things, you know, like we know that foie gras, you know, that thing we eat for Christmas, that they put food into the geese mouth,
Yeah.
and you know that they're making them sick on purpose, we still think this is a delicacy to eat, and I used to love that. I knew this was bad for animals. I just knew. I didn't want to see. I didn't want to look at it. And at some point, I did decide to look at it and face the reality that was behind the things that I love to eat. And when, for me, I'm talking about myself. When I realized what it costs to make the things I love to eat, and when it comes to love, loving to eat something is quite superficial. I don't need it. I love it. I don't need it. I realized that was extremely selfish. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror and say, I love animals and I fancy my hot dogs as well. Like, for me, it was totally incompatible. You can't say I love animals and pet your cat and then go to any restaurant and order a steak and be like, it's fine. No, because then to me it's like there are some animals that you allow yourself to love and you would never kill them and you would never eat them, and then you have this entire whole different world of animals that you can kill and eat. And I realized, no, to me all animals are equal. I'm not a speciesist. And then I'm like, if I can't kill an animal myself to eat it, I don't want to ask someone to kill an animal for me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to like, no, kill it.
Yeah.
Now I
Just
can
look
eat it.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. I couldn't look away. I had to face, and I was like, okay, if you still want to eat animals and cheese and all of that, then you have to do the hard job yourself. And since I can't do it, I decided to stop eating all that and to stop promoting and to stop. Yeah. It was my main concern. And of course there are a lot of arguments about how much water and energy is used to raise cows for the very meat industry and all of these environmental issues that come into the balance, and the health issues that come into the balance. And but for me it was really a matter of my own sensitivity towards animals.
And now you enjoy trying out vegan recipes, and you had to rethink, right? Your whole
totally.
cuisine.
Totally. I already loved to cook back then, and I was starting to get along recipes that I even was upgrading to doing some like chicken with cream and white wine and fancy herbs and all of that. And then I was like, I can't cook all of this anymore. And then but I got very good vegan cooking books that explain the basis and which kind of ingredients you have to put in more into your cooking to make sure you still have a balanced and healthy diet, because it's the most important thing. It's not about just cutting the meat, it's bringing in all the proteins, of course, but not only proteins, everything else that you need to make sure that you're still healthy as a vegan. And it was, for me, it was like opening up an entire new world of what cooking is about. And and since you sometimes end up cooking with those legumes and cereals quite a lot, then you play with flavors and spices from different places to vary your food and vary tastes. And I love to go for Thai stuff and more flavors to enhance dishes, and I went into some Ayurvedic things as well. And so it's more Indian techniques to spice up your food, and it's endless what you can do with vegan food, because it's way much more than just piece of meat and a side dish. It's like your entire food are side dishes at some point for someone who looks at it from and I try to I try to avoid, I think like alternatives are very good, like fake sausage, fake cheese, fake butter, fake whatever. They're very good as a start. Like you're used to have a piece of meat that looks like a steak and then veggies or rice or anything, and when you turn vegetarian or vegan, you're like, what is my plate gonna look like? So it feels reassuring to have something that still looks similar, like fake sausages. And so I started with that. And then at some point I felt like, okay, I can explore, I don't need this anymore. And Same with soy and tofu. It's very good. It's a very easy thing to get your proteins from. On the other side, they're saying you should not have soy-based products too much.
Yeah.
So I try to work around that too, to really like keep it varied, keep it seasonal. Like your food seasonal. Your body needs to eat specific things during specific times of the year. There's a reason why, you know, it's out
Nature
like
works
oranges
like
and
that. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, try to eat seasonal and the most local as I can as well, because I think it doesn't make sense to have food coming from the other end of the world. Just because you're vegan and then you want avocados, you know, you can have avocados, but it doesn't have to be your main thing either, you know. So
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Super nice.
thank you so much for your questions and your time. Thank you to having me in
Hey, I would
nice
say,
talking to you. Yeah.
I would say one last question from the
Sure.
guys, right?
Yeah.
All right, I will pick one because we were talking so long now. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is awesome. Okay, so I'm actually also very curious about this. Prayer for the Lost, this song. How was the lyrics process for this song?
I wrote that song for my sister. Actually, when I came up with the song itself, like the mood of it, I felt it was something I wanted to say to someone that was close to me, and when I let the words free while writing the songs, it made it clear to me that I needed to talk to my sister, and it certainly struck me that I had to tell her things that I didn't find the courage to tell her in the face, so it had to come in a song. And she was going through a phase that was kind of dark but very mysterious, because she's not someone that you can actually read like an open book. She keeps a lot of her struggle for herself, even though you will still see something's going wrong. And back then I was also in my own issues, and I was not there so much. I was not even in my mind very present for her at that time. And I think I just let the song be the open letter to her, and I let the verses and the chorus unfurl with what I really needed to tell her, that it's gonna be fine, that she's not alone, and that she should not stick to that dark place that she was dwelling in. And Prayer to the Lost is that she felt lost to me back then, and it was my prayer for her to find her way. Find her way to happiness.
Hey, wow, this is wonderful, and this is a very nice like finishing sentence.
Thank you.
Hey, wow, super. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you.
And
you too.
it was just very wonderful to get to meet you finally, and I hope we will see each other on the road somewhere.
Yeah, I love that too. I remember I crossed your path several times during the last cruise we did together. I really loved your show, because the Eluveitie was playing on the pool deck, and it was at nighttime, and there was a huge wind.
Oh, it was so stormy. Yes.
and your wind in your hair was beyond whatever any stage fan could have done. And standing with your music and your instruments and singing against the wind like the way you did, I thought, oh man, this is so epic. And I really enjoyed that, because I know it's a pain to sing when you have the wind in the face, because for me it's like sometimes it sort of dries up the back of your throat, you know. But I have this picture in my head really clear at that moment. And I really loved it, and and you're an amazing performer. So I'm very happy to finally be able to talk to you.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, we should have talked on the cruise, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's just, you know,
It's so many people, and sometimes it's like let's meet there at that time, and you can't make it because on the way you cross so many people that are like, hey, come with us, we're doing this, and you're like, yeah.
Exactly, and no internet on the boat, and so exactly, yeah. But that was a great experience, right? It was so much fun.
Yeah. So I really hope that we our paths cross sooner than later.
That would be super nice. Yes. Hey, but okay, take care, and
you too. You too.
and just see you soon, and thank you again for coming
Thank you.
here. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Clémentine. Bye,
Bye bye.